Americans, how do you feel now that you are being taken on an involuntary journey to the Middle Ages? We are now gearing up for racial and religious conflict. I feel like Christians are a virus. They don't even follow the teachings of Jesus. Trump is their savior now. Disgusting. Pretty upset and scared for my daughters. My husband and I genuinely want to immigrate to another country safe enough to start a family in. So many people on Reddit who have no actual understanding of what happened. Are we SCOTUS the baddies? Pretty shitty. Realize it's not all Americans. Just the theocratic states. When did 1972 become the Middle Ages? The hyperbole on Reddit today is amazing. Jesus Christ, y'all need to go outside. Right, TikTok. Why is letting states decide what happens in their state going back to the Middle Ages? In my opinion, the federal government should stay out of most issues and leave the vast majority up to each state. Americans of Reddit, what would it take for you to consider moving to Europe to live and work there? Money. And a decent grasp of the local language. Anyone looking for an aviation engineer? Money. I have no marketable skills that EU countries want. And most don't accept a lot of what I can do for a work visa. So my best bet to immigrate is marriage. My wife and I have discussed moving out of the States, but family keeps us rooted. Maybe when the parents have passed. Literally an offer of employment. The castles look nice, but the threat if dragons keep me away. Job opportunities? Europe doesn't let you just up and live there if you want to. Americans can't just up and move to any other country they feel like. Most countries have strict immigration controls that require things like income above a certain amount with demonstrated job security, tens or hundreds of thousands in savings, no chronic health conditions, and language abilities. This is not an option for most Americans or most anybody. Deaf people of Reddit who have received a cochlear implant, what things did you expect to make sound and what sounds surprised you? A little girl I worked with got very annoyed that pencils made noise when you write draw. She hated it lol. I have a hearing aid. Plastic and water are a lot noisier than I realized. My hearing is fine enough, but I have had the opportunity to speak to many recipients of cochlear implants. The story that stands out to me is the guy who found it funny that bedsheets make sound when you move them. I recall another guy being fascinated by the sound a boat makes as it travels through a lake. Now I have to go find the Tifu post about the deaf guy going out to dinner with his girlfriend's parents. From what I remember, everyone stops moving and looks at him out of nowhere, and his girlfriend had to explain that farts make noise and this particular fart was so loud that everyone in the restaurant heard. Not me, but I read about someone who expected the sun to make a sound. 5-year-old me expected that clouds made noise when they moved through the sky. Unfortunately, they don't. For those who were old enough to use the internet during the late 90s early 00s, what do you miss most about that era? Opening AIM or MSN Messenger to see if any of your friends were online. The fact that it was more about creating than consuming. It was fun and wacky, nobody took it too seriously. Waiting for the dial-up to finish. When that 4 and a 1-2 minutes were up, I'd pick the phone up just to watch my brother rage. Good times. Man, you could spend all day playing games on Neopets or on RuneScape with Winamp playing music you got from extremely questionable websites. Until your mom answered the foo PHNI. The video players. They actually loaded the whole thing and didn't stop the instant the internet fritzed. They also let you replay endlessly. The general frontier atmosphere and the sheer number of places to explore. Infinite tessellation of interests. Now we basically have 4 websites, all of which just seem to share content from the other 3. And regular updates too.
Gamers of Reddit, what are some unwritten rules of video games? Save. No, again. Don't snipe your dad in the back of the head after he spent your early years teaching you how to play. Although I am secretly proud. When there's a fire, walk through it to see if it damages you. Barrels explode. Pots can be broken for money. If you find a room with many healing potions, save. You must jump into portals, not walk, not run. Jump. If you're about to start a new game, kill every NPC that you can, and take their loot first. Always check behind the waterfall. If there's loot, be disappointed that it wasn't creative enough. If there's no loot, how dare they? It's a waterfall.
How does someone politely end a conversation with a person who won't stop talking? My friend has Asperger's and I actually asked him about how he knows a conversation is too long and we discussed how he can't recognize subtle social cues. So I started practicing with him. I'll literally put my hand up in a stop motion in front of him and say, "Can I stop you here?" Or "Sorry, I have to stop you there," and once he pauses I say my excuse and tell him that we'll talk more later. If they keep talking over polite cues, I have found there really isn't a polite way to exit the conversation. Find a hedge and slowly disappear into it. I have to go. When they draw a breath, politely say, "On that note, I must be on my way." Then, Simply leave. Wait. What time is it? It's sex fuck the proceed to robot dance away until out of view. Sorry, I have to return some videotapes. Say we ellll peep. Slap your knee and stand up to leave. Oh my gosh, I have already taken up so much of your time. I am so sorry, I'm even running late myself. How often do you sleep naked? Too weird. I slept naked for the first time in 15 years last night and this is here? WHO's watching me? Enough to make people knock. Always. I woke up nude in my first apartment during a break-in and the burglar panicked so hard he fell out my window. Now I consider my dangly bits to be a part of my home security package. Never after a house fire. Nice try, uncle. You'll have to try harder next time. Every single night. Only if the room is cold enough that I don't sweat in my sleep. I like sleeping naked, but I don't like my sheets getting soaked in sweat because then I have to wash them more. Never. Having a mom that wakes you up every morning by throwing up the blanket doesn't help. Plus morning wood. Hardly wear clothes, in the house. At all. From cooking. That shit hurts when mistakes are made. Only after sex. So never. I'm not a fan of naked sleeping, I rather have a boxer or some underwear to know why.
If heaven exists, what's the first thing you do? Ask my childhood friend Kevin for a race. He used to beat me handily when we're younger 9-13 and he'd always brag. When I got older and faster I moved away so I was never able to race him again. We arranged for a race but he was shot multiple times and bound to a wheelchair until he passed a few years ago. I wanna race him both in our prime. I'd track down a bunch of people I knew in life and apologize to them for various things I've said or done. Find my husband, give him a huge hug and never let go again. Live our forever together. I fucking love him and miss him so much. Find my son and have a beer with him. Something we never got to do in real life.
If Reddit existed in 1922, what sort of questions would be asked on here? Ida? My family says I'm selfish for quitting my job at the coal mine so I can focus on my third grade studies. Gentlemen coming back from the war, do you also hear bombs again too sometimes? Or is it just me? Is 11 years old too late to start working the coal mines? I fear I'm being too lenient on my 6 boys. Unpopular opinion: the new generation is forgetting how to make cheese cause it is in stores. In the future fewer people will know how to make cheese. My son talked about his feelings. How do I let him know he's a Nancy boy? Which brands of shoe shine and hair pomade work best? Asking for a friend. If one wanted to find a speakeasy, where would that be? How stupid would humans have to be to start a second world war? Will I be the eye if I tell Susan to stop coming to the church because she's a town's WH0re?
If you were allowed to eat anything and not get sick, what will it be? Uranium, but so many calories, it'll go right to my thighs. I'd like to say lava, but in reality it would probably be something lame like an expired produce I forgot in my fridge. Does it have to be food? My answer would be water. If all water sources were guaranteed to never get me sick, that would be pretty rad to never have to worry about that. Anything. Literally anything at all. Digestive bullshit means I literally can't even drink water without a stomachache. I don't have a single safe food. I genuinely trade bags of my blood for a single painless meal where I can eat till I'm full. Absolutely, it would be those paint videos on TikTok where he adds sprinkles and things.
NSFW: people who knowingly have slept with someone who was in a relationship. Why did you do it? She told me that she was in an open relationship but turned out that she was lying. I was young and it made me feel hot desired. It was dumb, because I loved her and she always told me what an a-hole he is. Now she broke up with me to go back to him. You were gone, he was here. Shay Dynasty. Because I'm a fucking idiot and I was in love with them. I was young and drunk, with low self-esteem and a crippling need for validation. She came onto me and I found it hard to say no. I justified it to myself as I knew their relationship was on the rocks anyway. I figured, well, it's basically over. They just aren't formally broken up. They did split up a few months later. I'm not excusing it, I knew it was wrong. She was there too. I was told we are in an open relationship, they weren't. Happened to me twice, because my GF was in the same room having sex with the other person in the relationship. On a first date, you ask them what their favorite book is. What response would make you get up and leave? Dianetics, by L. Ron Hubbard. Lord of the Rings. We would get up and leave straight to my place. There's a manual you can find online on how to kidnap and kill people and not be caught by the police. You hear about it from time to time when they catch potential serial killers. This is a huge red flag. Sun Tzu: The Art of War BCS. I know they'll always be 7 steps ahead of me. I don't read, then switch the conversation to sneakers. This actually happened. Dianetics. L. Ron Hubbard. I responded with, Oh yeah. I read that. He was a piece of trash, beating his pregnant wives. He was ready to get up and leave. Yeah. We didn't have much in common. I had a date tell me they couldn't read the Hunger Games series because the main character was a girl. What if someone saw them reading that? What would they think? I suddenly remembered I had to be up early the next day, closed my tab, and left.
People who have accessed the dark web, what was it like? Slow. A lot of fucking searching for correct URLs. I was just window shopping. If you're not there to shop, and been around for a while, it's not that interesting. I've seen scarier shit in the untamed age of the internet than I did when going through it. Same as the normal web, but with onions. Boring. There was a page with a bunch of links to illicit things that were probably just the FBI or some other glowy organization. Mostly just like the regular web but with illegal stuff. Drugs, weapons, passports or credit card, apparent hitman service. Not sure if that was real though. It is super slow though, and the link collections you find for the Tor browser are mostly dead.